There is a reason few nations seriously contemplate direct large-scale war with the United States. For more than 8 decades, the U.S. mainland has not experienced a sustained foreign military assault, and although geopolitical tensions, proxy conflicts, and strategic rivalries have persisted, open confrontation against the continental United States remains exceedingly rare. This reality is not accidental. It reflects a deliberate strategy built on deterrence, sustained investment, global presence, and the integration of military capability with economic, technological, and logistical depth. The United States allocates close to $1 trillion annually to national defense, a figure that often draws debate domestically and scrutiny internationally. However, that expenditure is not solely about preparing to wage war. It is fundamentally about discouraging it. The core philosophy behind such investment is that visible strength, coupled with credible readiness, reduces the likelihood that an adversary will miscalculate. In strategic terms, deterrence works best when potential opponents believe that the cost of aggression would be overwhelming, unpredictable, and ultimately unsustainable. The scale of American military power is frequently described in terms of size active duty personnel, reserve components, equipment inventories, but size alone does not explain its influence. The distinguishing factor lies in the system behind the force. The United States military operates within a vast and highly developed logistical network that integrates transportation, supply chains, satellite communications, cyber infrastructure, industrial production, and global basing arrangements. This infrastructure allows the country not only to deploy forces quickly, but also to sustain them over extended periods. Many militaries can mobilize units for short, intense operations. Far fewer can maintain high operational tempo across continents for months or years. The American model emphasizes endurance as much as initial impact. Sea lift and airlift capabilities enable rapid reinforcement, while pre-positioned equipment in allied regions reduces response time in crises. Fuel supply, ammunition production, medical evacuation systems, and maintenance pipelines are structured to function under stress. In modern warfare, where complexity and coordination are decisive, the machinery supporting combat units is often more consequential than the units themselves. On land, the United States fields a combined arms approach designed to integrate armor, infantry, artillery, aviation, and intelligence into a unified operational framework. Platforms such as the M1 Abrams tank represent more than armored vehicles. They are heavily protected, sensor-equipped systems capable of operating in diverse environments. Continuous upgrades in armor composition, fire control systems, and communications networks ensure that such platforms evolve alongside emerging threats. Similarly, the M109 Paladin self-propelled artillery system provides mobile long-range firepower that can relocate rapidly after firing, reducing vulnerability while sustaining pressure. Yet these platforms do not function in isolation. They are embedded within a broader battlefield architecture that includes reconnaissance drones, forward observers, precision-guided munitions, and secure digital communications. Night vision equipment, thermal imaging, and satellite support reduce the traditional limitations of darkness or terrain. The cumulative effect is not merely increased lethality, but increased coordination. Modern ground combat, when supported by layered intelligence and rapid logistical replenishment, becomes a contest of systems rather than individual engagements. Air power further amplifies this integrated advantage. The United States maintains one of the most technologically advanced and globally distributed air forces in the world. While aircraft numbers remain significant, qualitative superiority plays an even more decisive role. Stealth technology, sensor fusion, and network-centric warfare have reshaped aerial combat. Aircraft such as the F-22 were designed to achieve air dominance by detecting and engaging adversaries at ranges where the opponent may lack situational awareness. The F-35 expands this concept by functioning not only as a strike platform but also as an information node, collecting and distributing battlefield data to other units in real time. This connectivity transforms individual aircraft into components of a broader information ecosystem. Long-range bombers, including stealth platforms capable of intercontinental missions, provide strategic depth. These aircraft can travel vast distances, conduct precision strikes, and return without forward basing, reinforcing the principle that geography alone does not guarantee safety in an era of global reach. Naval power extends this reach across the world's oceans. The United States Navy operates aircraft carriers that function as mobile air bases, capable of launching sustained air operations far from American shores. Each carrier is accompanied by a strike group composed of guided missile destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and logistical support ships, forming a layered defensive and offensive network. This structure allows for sea control, power projection, and maritime security simultaneously. Submarines, particularly ballistic missile submarines, introduce an additional dimension of deterrence. Designed to remain undetected for extended patrols, they form part of a survivable second strike capability. The uncertainty associated with their location reinforces strategic stability, as potential adversaries cannot confidently neutralize all retaliatory assets in a first strike. Sea-based deterrence thus complements land-based missiles and strategic bombers, forming a triad intended to ensure redundancy and resilience. Strategic missile forces further reinforce deterrence. Intercontinental ballistic missiles can reach targets thousands of miles away within minutes, illustrating the compression of time and space in modern conflict. These systems are distributed and hardened to reduce vulnerability, complicating any attempt at a disabling first strike. Importantly, strategic capabilities are not limited to nuclear payloads. Conventional long-range precision missiles enable targeted strikes against critical infrastructure, command centers, or military assets without crossing the nuclear threshold. Satellite navigation, advanced guidance systems, and real-time intelligence feeds increase accuracy while limiting collateral damage relative to older methods of bombardment. The existence of such capabilities expands the spectrum of response options available to decision-makers, enhancing deterrence by presenting credible alternatives short of nuclear escalation. The nuclear dimension remains the most consequential element of strategic balance. The United States maintains a substantial nuclear arsenal, structured around redundancy and survivability rather than sheer visibility. The purpose of this arsenal is not routine use but deterrence, convincing potential adversaries that escalation would produce catastrophic and uncontrollable consequences. Nuclear war, by its nature, offers no meaningful victory, only varying degrees of devastation. As a result, the existence of credible nuclear forces on multiple platforms, land, sea, and air serves as a stabilizing factor in strategic calculations, even as it underscores the gravity of miscalculation. Deterrence theory rests on the belief that rational actors will avoid actions that guarantee unacceptable costs. Beyond traditional domains of land, sea, air, and nuclear deterrence, the United States has invested heavily in emerging technologies. Unmanned aerial systems have transformed surveillance and strike operations. Drones can loiter over areas for extended periods, collecting intelligence and, when authorized, conducting precision engagements. Their endurance reduces risk to pilots while expanding situational awareness. Advances in artificial intelligence, cyber operations, and electronic warfare further broaden operational capability. Cyber tools can disrupt communications, infrastructure, and financial networks without a single physical projectile being launched. Space-based assets, including reconnaissance satellites and communication networks, provide global connectivity and early warning. The integration of these domains reflects a shift toward multidimensional warfare, where information and timing are as decisive as firepower. Human capital remains central to this framework. Training within the U.S. military emphasizes both technical proficiency and decision-making under pressure. Specialized units undergo rigorous preparation designed to cultivate adaptability, resilience, and independent judgment. Elite forces are structured to operate in complex, ambiguous environments where conventional formations may be impractical. However, the broader force also benefits from institutional memory accumulated across decades of varied operational experience. Engagements in different regions, climates, and conflict types have generated lessons that inform doctrine, procurement, and training. This iterative process, learning from past operations, refining tactics, and incorporating technological advances, creates a dynamic rather than static force posture. Equally significant is the industrial and research base that underpins military capability. Defense research institutions, private sector contractors, universities, and laboratories collaborate on next-generation systems. Investments in stealth materials, hypersonic technologies, missile defense, quantum research, and advanced propulsion illustrate a commitment to maintaining technological advantage. Not all developments are publicly disclosed, and strategic ambiguity itself can serve as a deterrent. When potential adversaries cannot fully assess capability, uncertainty may discourage risk-taking. Continuous modernization ensures that existing platforms are upgraded while new systems are tested and integrated. The deterrent effect of the United States military therefore rests on layered integration rather than isolated strength. Rapid deployments, sustained logistics, technological sophistication, nuclear redundancy, and experienced personnel combine to form a comprehensive system. Potential adversaries must consider not only the visible platforms but also the interconnected infrastructure supporting them. War in the modern era is rarely a singular clash. It is a contest of endurance, adaptation, and coordination. In this context, the ability to maintain operations over time becomes as important as initial impact. It is important to recognize that deterrence does not eliminate conflict entirely. The United States has engaged in numerous operations abroad, often in complex and controversial circumstances. Military power does not guarantee political outcomes, nor does it eliminate the uncertainties inherent in war. However, the scale and integration of American capability raise the threshold for direct state-on-state confrontation. For many nations, strategic competition occurs through diplomacy, economic measures, alliances, cyber activities, and proxy engagements rather than open invasion. The perceived costs of direct war, military, economic, and humanitarian, remain prohibitively high. Alliances also amplify American deterrence. Defense partnerships and treaty commitments extend the strategic footprint beyond national borders. Forward bases, joint exercises, and interoperability arrangements enable collective defense structures that complicate adversary planning. A potential aggressor must consider not only bilateral consequences but multilateral responses. This networked approach distributes risk and enhances shared security. It also reinforces the credibility of rapid response, as forces can operate from established positions rather than mobilizing solely from domestic territory. Ultimately, the reason few countries contemplate direct war with the United States lies in the convergence of multiple factors: economic scale, technological leadership, global logistics, nuclear deterrence, alliance networks, and institutional experience. Military power is not defined solely by weapon systems, but by the capacity to integrate, sustain, and adapt them. The United States has built a structure in which land forces, air assets, naval groups, missile systems, cyber tools, and research institutions function as interconnected components of a single strategic framework. This integration increases resilience, reduces vulnerability to single-point failure, and complicates adversary calculations. Deterrence operates most effectively when it is credible, visible, and supported by demonstrated readiness. Exercises, patrols, deployments, and modernization programs communicate capability without requiring active conflict. At the same time, responsible strategic management seeks to prevent escalation and maintain stability. The existence of overwhelming force does not imply inevitability of its use. Rather, it aims to make use unnecessary. The balance between preparedness and restraint defines modern great power stability. In evaluating the broader picture, one sees that American military influence derives not from a single weapon or platform, but from a comprehensive architecture designed for global reach and sustained operations. Rapid mobility, integrated command structures, advanced research, and strategic deterrence converge to create a force posture that few nations would challenge directly. Geography alone no longer provides insulation in a world of long-range missiles and stealth aircraft, and technological uncertainty further complicates potential aggression. As a result, direct conflict against the United States carries risks that extend beyond conventional battlefield outcomes into economic disruption, strategic instability, and potentially catastrophic escalation. The enduring lesson is that modern deterrence rests on preparation, integration, and adaptability. The United States maintains a military structure capable of projecting power across domains while continuously evolving in response to emerging threats. That structure, supported by vast resources and decades of operational experience, shapes the strategic calculations of other states. Whether through visible carrier groups at sea, advanced aircraft in the air, armored units on land, or unseen submarines beneath the surface, the cumulative effect is a deterrent posture that discourages direct confrontation. In this sense, the strength of the system lies not merely in its firepower but in its capacity to sustain, coordinate, and adapt qualities that collectively define its global influence and explain why open war against it remains an option few are willing to pursue.